Ooh, you are listening to Keith Price's Curtain Call. Ooh, we are ready, honey. This is it's on up in here, honey. We're getting ready to get crazy over here on the Curtain Call. Hello, I am Keith Price, and welcome to another edition of the Curtain Call. And again, as I always say to you, if you were listening to this, you know how much I love me some theater. You know how I love to see the things on the Broadway as well as off the Broadway, or in some places off of a lot of, I would say off Broadway, if you can count this place that I went to once where it was a show on the second floor of a warehouse. But no one knew exactly where the warehouse was. We just kind of, it was like me and a whole bunch of people walking around, looking around with the map going, is this where this address is? It keeps coming up. But we love the theater. That's why we do that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I have the cast, actually, and it's a very small cast in this teensy tiny room that we're in, from a play that it's getting a lot of buzz, a lot of attention, and a lot of conversation. And it's very interesting because I'm a little bit of the old guard in terms of my age compared to the conversation in terms of what happens in this show. But I'm going to talk to you guys anyway because it's very different when you're an old queen sitting around watching these young queens having dilemmas, if you know what I'm saying. We're going to find it. It's so great. I have the cast of the play straight. I have Jake Epstein. Say hi, Jake.
Yes, hello.
Thomas Sullivan.
Hey there.
And Jenna Gavigan.
Hello.
Welcome. So
thanks for having us.
Okay, this is great. First of all, you're all young and adorable, so I hate you. And then and then you're in this play that is, it's really very interesting. I wanted to get the tagline because it's really great. And it's basically one man who is in the middle of his own personal triangle, I should say. Because it's not until towards the end that everyone realizes who's what and where and what they do and their roles within each other's lives. But this play is very interesting because I never thought about the idea of, we're at this place now because I happen to have seen the show. I saw it with a double bill with another show called Boy. So I was having like a gender-bending, conversational Saturday.
Going for it. Yeah,
it was all over the place
jumping
for me.
in to that.
And what I found really fascinating about this piece was that, you know, I forget, being as old and as jaded as I am, that the conversation and the dilemma of figuring out your identity, which is what Jake's character does, is figuring out your identity at a time when you're making decisions that seem to be for the rest of your life. And your dilemma and your character, Jake, is that, you know, you are involved with a woman and you're now having an affair with a man.
Yes. And he's in this long-term relationship with his best friend.
Right.
This is someone he's going to settle down with. He's envisioned his whole life with this woman, and yet he probably has feelings for guys. And he meets this guy online, like you were saying, in that time of life, like right where you have your kind of last shot to figure things out. And so he starts this very strange affair with this young, charismatic guy that he meets online.
Yeah. Now,
young,
we're talking a 5 years age difference, right? In terms of the character.
6 years.
6
6 years.
6 years
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
And so when you say young to me, I'm like, child, that ain't that young. This shoot, I don't know where you hanging out, but then I have to go. Yes, because the age that you guys are, you know, you're in your 20s, which is the time that you're supposed to be figuring all of these things out.
And the difference between 26, which Ben is, and 20, which Chris is a pretty tangible. If you're gonna be 6 years apart, that's
Right.
a pretty tangible difference at that age.
See, because I'm long way from 26, child. Long way.
Don't look it. Don't look it.
Stop it. But yes. But what's interesting is that we spend a lot of time watching the dynamics of the two relationships with the men. And I was kind of wanting more, I think, from your character, Jenna, because your character, to me, is the one that gets duped the worst out of the whole shtick. You know, it's like, you know, even to the ending that I'm not going to give away, that, let me just tell you, first of all, the three of you, gagger, okay? Because I sat there and I was like, I did not see that coming. They led me all the way to the well, and then they just threw the water at me. I'm like, y'all better work.
Yep.
So again, for your character is a research TA, right? Doing graduate work.
Getting her PhD.
Right.
In
And
bioinformatics.
I love it. She's a smart girl, guys.
She's curing cancer.
She's a smart girl making foolish choices.
Yeah.
That's right.
But like, so for you, how hard is it for you when you're playing this role? Because, you seem like to be a very modern, hip chick of the time.
Gee,
Like
thanks.
you ain't got no time for that. At this.
I think Emily knows more than she lets on.
Okay.
But as a woman in my late 20s, you start to think about the future and children and the things that you want in your life. And, I haven't experienced this exact thing, thank God. But she wants kids and she wants a family and she loves this person. And maybe for her, this is just one little hiccup that they're going to get past.
So it's interesting, though, because that's the story, I think, of a lot of couples today of like my generation that had the same spark as the generation that you guys are representing. Because I think at that time, for me, some 25 years ago, the lifestyle choices were still harder to make. And it's interesting to like see a play like this now in a time when we still have a lot of freedom to have expression. Yet at the same time, we have things like North Carolina happening that make it difficult for people to do that.
There is this funny dichotomy that's going on right now where it's so okay to be out. We're in this accepting society, and so it's harder to tell that story that a lot of people are still having a very hard time with it. And like you said, what's happening in North Carolina, and that's why I think this story is important. And the argument that I think is so interesting with my character Ben that I play, it's that it's not that he's afraid of coming out. He's afraid of being labeled by society or defined as a gay man. Right. He's afraid of that label because it's a sort of a quote unquote culture that he has nothing to do with.
Well, but see,
that's part of the discussion.
For the discussion, and I think that what makes that a really interesting statement is that, the label is what has made, I guess, the community stand out so much more now. Right. Mm-hmm. But mostly in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And so it's very interesting to still think that there is, because I think at my age, I say this in that I've just lived long enough to just be like, child, whatever.
What are you doing?
Why else? Because there was a moment like in this piece that I was sitting there thinking, I was just, child, that is a lot of work you're trying to do just to get some dick. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wish you were Ben. I wish honestly, the point would be resolved in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and so it's very interesting to watch it play out because it forced me to remember that when I was at that same age, because I had my big bold bad coming out at like 26, 27 too, and so I know it's shocking, right? So I have lived
and you
long
married
enough.
your scientist girlfriend as well.
No, I saved her.
Right,
I saved her. I told her to go
Smart
away.
Man.
Run away while you still can, darling. I'll still do your hair. No, no, but I found it very. It was a challenge because, like I said, I've lived so long not having to think about it. But then when I was watching it and sitting there going, "Oh, girl, this child, what is this? Just do it already. What do you?" And then it dawned on me somewhere in the middle of the show that, as fierce as I think I am right now, I was the exact same way. I was afraid of the stigma, and that was 20-something years ago too.
You don't know how many people have come up to me after the play and told me the same thing. That was me. That was me. And some people have been like, "And this is my ex-wife. We got married, and it was a mistake." And we're, and
now we're friends. And we're going to see theater together. It's interesting. One gentleman came up to me and said that was me, and I said, "I hope you've
figured things
This
out.
is so intense.
And he said, no. He said, but, we make a choice. We stick with it. Still married.
Wow.
And I was like, my heart just broke, you know?
It's like, so I'm looking at the three of you. So, like, for your characters, because each of your characters has, like, an interesting journey. Like, I didn't want to give away the ending, but the ending to me was a gut punch because I didn't see that coming. I thought for sure we were going to have that kind of resolution, and we didn't get it. And I kept thinking, it's like, for your character specifically, oh man, how do I say this without giving it away?
It's tough.
It's tough
Yeah,
because, your character specifically for me was the one that I was concerned about the next day when the news had broken.
Right. And it, no matter what the ending may or may not be, it's a shock, and that's going to be tough. But I think Chris is actually going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Long term. He's a young kid that's gotten invested, really, really invested over a short period of time. But I mean, as Thomas Sullivan, am so much more concerned for Ben and Emily than Chris's future.
Well, because I have to say, we're talking to Jake Epstein and Thomas Sullivan and Jenna Gavigan from the play Straight, happening 8 shows a week here in New York City at Theater Row. And again, it's sort of like like you said, you were worried more about the couple after the fact, because it's very true that they're going to have a very interesting life, no matter how things work out for them. And it's sort of like, when you're now, because you're a little bit older than your characters, and you're now living.
Shh, don't tell it.
Honey, black don't crack. I'm just saying. So, no, but I mean, like, you guys are living that place in your life now where you're making those kinds of decisions while you're still trying to maintain a career, where just the entanglement of a relationship could get in the way of you making your careers happen. So do you, as on the personal how hard is it for you to create relationships or have other relationships outside so that you can have your professional life as well?
This just became therapy,
Jay.
man.
Oh, dear.
Oh, jeez.
Jay!
Oh, man. That's the question. I mean,
Because you're
it's
all
always
adorable. You're all, given hotness, cuteness. You got a show on Broadway.
All right, that made me feel
off
better.
Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah, you're having the life right now.
I think that's our generation's challenge is having this stable, normal life with hopefully someone you love, and at the same time doing what you want. And being here in New York I'm a Canadian, so
Yeah.
I feel particularly fortunate to be able to be here in New York working. But there's a sacrifice to it for sure.
Yeah.
It certainly helps when any partner or prospective partner is understanding of the business, or they're involved in the business or have been involved in the business, and that makes building those relationships, whether friendship or romantic, that much more
Of a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, because I talked to, I was having an interesting conversation with the Broadway leading lady just yesterday.
Names.
And I'll tell you after.
Okay,
'cause,
cool.
let her have her privacy. So
I'm
to
a
speak.
gossip.
Well, we'll gossip
Okay,
after.
cool.
I love to see Jenna Gavigan and I like this. So she was telling me that she was having a very hard time, that she had just gone recently on a blind date that someone arranged for her. And when I tell you after the fact who this person is, and you're like, first of all, what is she doing getting a blind date? Like, because she's who she is. There's no reason for her to be getting a blind date. And you're looking at me like, I think I know who it is.
Got 2 guesses.
Okay.
Go.
But she was lamenting about that. And it's like, look at you. You got some stuff going on, Miss Jenna. What's happening?
Thank you so much. He's commenting on my one ripped jean. I think.
She's like, it's like in Gypsy, you're just giving him just a little shoulder.
That's my jam. It's my magic word.
Ow, hey.
You know what? My thing. Look, I lived in Los Angeles for my early 20s. That was interesting, relationship-wise. I've always said if I had to choose between show business and having a family, I would have a family. Mm-hmm. But no one's making me choose. So that's good.
That's good.
But I would rather, at the end of my life, be surrounded by 12 grandchildren than 12 Tonys. That's just me.
Ooh.
But I say that now, and you could come to me at 50 with like a bunch of teenagers,
All
and
these
I'd be like,
stupid grandchildren and not a single Tony to be seen. This is
You'll name 'em
ridiculous.
Tony
name them Tony one. No, they're all gonna be. They're all going to be named after the Von Trapp children, and we all know this. Like, you have to weave it in.
Yeah, you can make it work.
You can make it
blend
work.
both.
Like, if they think they're not going to tap class, they're wrong.
You're wrong. You're going, and you're gonna like it.
I don't know. You just sort of like
Poor kids.
show business is easier when you've got someone who understands it, like Tom was saying. But also, there's a lot of time when you're not employed that
Fun
you know,
employed.
having not even just relationship, like a romantic relationship, but having other relationships is really important, or else you'll
Lose it.
spiral downward
Yeah,
very fast.
We're with
That was especially true in Los Angeles.
I can imagine.
Not to throw it under the bus.
Well, I mean, but it's a different kind of energy there because people have certain goals for sure. I mean, we all have our goals here in New York, but I think like LA, you are much more focused about getting on that screen. Like that must be really annoying when you're just trying to meet somebody for coffee.
Yeah.
LA is also so.
Thomas is from it.
I'm from LA,
Okay.
and New York just offers more beyond showbiz, which, you know, take it or leave it. Some people don't need much more than that. But the joke was, like, of all of our friends, one of our parents worked in show business without fail, at least. And here you could run into, like, a restaurateur or a museum curator. There's just more going on. And to compare showbiz to showbiz, East Coast versus West Coast, there's craft seems to come into play a little bit more often over here.
Well, I feel like having a life outside the work helps the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like
also
that's
true.
why I think stuff is so great, and the quality of stuff you see in New York is so great because I think people get to have a bit of a life. They get to be experience other kinds of culture, and I think that just helps the kind of stuff that's being made here.
Well, clearly, I mean, this is like a season. At least, you know, it's been the buzz about the season of diversity that's happening on Broadway in terms of like, it seems like everything. Like I was just talking to Paul Alexander Nolan, and we were talking about the appeal of bluegrass now on Broadway. It's like, okay, so I think we have hit a major slice of life in America that has had a moment now on the Great White Way simultaneously. Like, you know, you never see this. It's like,
whatever Broadway music doesn't exist
Yeah.
anymore.
It
It's like,
doesn't.
what kind of music?
Yeah.
What is it? Rap?
Yeah.
Is it
There's a lot
bluegrass?
going
Is
on.
it? Yeah.
but it's all there.
School of Rock.
I think, yeah, School of Rock is there. I mean, it's like there's a whole excitement. And what I think straight is, in terms of being a part of that diversity, is that you are having the conversation about sexuality, which, you know, regardless of how people may feel and how jaded some of us are, let me own my shit, I own my stuff, that at the same time, it is a conversation that still needs to happen because people are not, you know, people still aren't getting it. It's like when you think about somebody who's 25, 26, character's 26, and he is working in a high-profile job that his education has helped bring him on. He's involved with a partner who seems to care about him, and he seems to care about her, but at the same time, he's got these other desires that at the age of 26 is when you're supposed to be figuring all of that stuff out and fighting to box themselves into something that they don't have to. It's still a very interesting conversation because I think that people run to those things because they're scared. Like, you know, I think your character, Jenna, she's, you know, she wants all of those things, but it's primarily because she's afraid that her life as a scientist was going to fail at some point, you know?
Yeah.
That's why she's so pressing to want to be
I think that's part of it.
living together.
She
wanting
knows
to,
the kind of life that she's getting into. It's never going to
Right.
be a life where she's perhaps going to be intensely financially independent.
which is why Jake, your character, is a good catch.
Yeah, there's
I
that.
would think so. Yeah.
It's a good catch.
Yeah.
I just it's really fascinating though to watch, you know, because you guys are you're a reflection of a sector of this population that now is starting to have a different kind of voice, like your voices as young people. I say that being
Why are
as
you
old as I
laughing
am.
when you say that?
I'm saying as long
You're
as,
like young
old,
people.
as old as I am, I've become that person.
Right,
you know,
right.
when I was your age, I used to do.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I've aged into that category.
Yeah.
But to see the work that you guys get to put out there and to have careers now, because you're in it. You're off Broadway and you're doing.
Well, and to be part of something that says something, like I
Yeah.
love that. Oh my God, we're
And that
doing a
people
play where people
talk
talk about it.
about
They want to
it.
talk to
Yeah.
us about it.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
feel? This pissed me off. This I love this. This I understood that. Blah 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 blah. Everyone says it like they're the
Yeah.
first people to come up with it, and I love it. Like it's that's the dream is to be able
That's
to do
the
something
dream.
that makes people think and affects people, and people can relate to it. So
I think, and like I said, as jaded as I walked into that whole experience, it was just sort of like it made me stop and really think about me and how I remember having that dilemma, remember having that conflict of what am I going to do when people find that out? What's going to happen to me? And I think it's very interesting to see that happening today, even though I've survived, some 25. Oh, no, 25. Some 20, a few years into the game, I've seen a few things, as the kids would say. But it's interesting to see it happening and know that it really is still happening. And the fact that you guys are in something that is, has that kind of meat in it.
it
Yeah.
feels worthwhile. It feels important. It's an
Yeah.
important conversation to be having.
To be having and to be having that as artists
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the best.
And to have it not be all one note. It's not just a play about this guy who's,
Yeah.
it's very,
It's layered.
people ask me, is it a drama, is it a comedy? I'm like, it's real life.
Yeah.
It's everything combined and
I love that.
very moment to
I wish
moment.
Scott Elmgreen, Drew Fornarola wrote the play. I wish they were here right now. I wish
Yeah.
they were here
Yeah,
to
they're
talk
awesome.
about. It's so funny because we do this press for the show. We talk to people about it.
Yeah.
We didn't write the thing.
Yeah.
Right? we're meant to
Yeah.
represent it, and of course we're the faces of the show.
You're the
and-
vessel.
and
But
we,
it's their baby. I mean, they've been
Yeah, like,
working
they
on it
have a
for
really-
6 years almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I think I don't think they'd mind me saying this because I think they've said it in interviews. They said the only thing that has never changed in the play is the ending.
Wow.
Build the suspense on the ending even more. But yeah,
Wow.
that's been the constant.
That's deep, actually.
I don't think they ever rewrote the last scene.
No, I
That's
think
what
it was.
they
No,
said.
I think it was
that
the
was
first
the first thing they wrote.
It was the genesis
They
of the whole
knew,
idea.
yeah.
They came up with that last scene, and every other scene has come through
That.
different rewrites and other. But scene
So
nine,
when people come out of the play and go, I hated the ending, we're like, well, you're shit out of luck because that's the ending. And
It's just-
here we go.
I didn't hate the ending. I loved the ending in that I sat there going, no, they didn't. And then then like when the lights went out and everybody was just kind of sitting there stunned. Everybody was like, is he? No. And then the lights come up and then you're like, hey, Broadway Cares is doing a thing.
So we joke, like, what
Yeah.
song are they gonna play in the end? Like, just like Mamma Mia or something. Like, we're just like,
Like,
woo.
it's just that everybody was just like,
We all come out dance
Yeah.
together.
we were all, and I love that. I love when you get to go to an experience like that because everybody, like I said, we all had our preconceived notions going into that moment. Like once it started, I was just like, oh, girl, whatever. She's just doing this. Sean, we're going to be here all day watching her flip flop and then him in his underwear and the other one in their underwear. They just going to taunt me for at least the next 90 minutes. And it's going to be
the plot of the play.
and me and poor Jenna going to be standing back says, these men are, that's how they do us. See, that's what we would have been doing.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those shows where I loved how at the end people were, literally when the lights went up, we were like, oh, it is over. Oh, snap. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, I don't want to be none of them tomorrow, but at the same time, I want to know exactly what each of them did the next day, Like, how many bridal magazines does your character come out with? How many more, basic glory holes are you going to be sticking your stuff into
yes,
until the
okay.
moment happens? And then there you are.
You went there.
Yeah. There's Thomas, up in the club. Like, I did him. He was special.
I want the one-man version of the show performed by you, by the way.
Yeah,
I feel like
really?
it would be so entertaining. And
Because I'm every one of those
you
characters.
are. Yes, you are.
I love it. But again, if you're coming to New York and you need, again, a theatrical experience that is not going to be like the things that you're expecting. Not for nothing, if we could all get tickets to Hamilton, we would have already had them. Right?
Can you not get tickets to Hamilton?
Not anymore.
Oh, I can.
Oh,
Whoa.
Totally. I'm totally. Don't. People I went to high school with, don't email me.
I can.
I can.
That was intense.
I'm totally joking. I've yet to see it. But I do listen to the soundtrack in my dressing room.
So I feel like I've seen
So I
the
feel
whole
like
show.
I've seen it.
I love that. But
You're
see,
the only one in
again-
the company who hasn't seen
I
Hamilton.
know.
too.
I'm a loser.
Really?
Yeah.
Has everybody seen it?
Mm-hmm.
I actually tried the
Fine.
lottery. I'm performing tonight, and I tried to get the lottery tickets today for other people. So that's
Sure. For other people.
for other. Yeah, I wasn't gonna call out.
Guys, where's Tom? Where's Tom? Oh, he's
Tom?
in Hamilton.
in
Okay,
Hamilton.
we get it. We get it.
You got Hamilton
That's
tickets.
the only acceptable reason to miss your show. You got Hamilton tickets.
man.
But again, if you come to New York and you can't get Hamilton tickets, there are lots of other interesting theatrical experiences that you can take on. And again, like I said, the beautiful part about coming to New York is that there's on Broadway, there's off Broadway, there's off Broadway, there's
I'll
cabaret.
just jump in too. I mean, the theater seats 200 seats. It's
Yeah.
this unbelievable intimate experience coming to see our show, and
Yep.
it's pretty affordable.
Absolutely.
And it's 90
you can't
minutes,
get Hamilton,
no
you can't afford
intermission.
to see Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know, go see something
Yeah.
else. You know,
You can come
We'll
see this
entertain
play
you.
and two
Yeah.
other shows.
Like
Yeah, seriously,
afterwards,
yeah. You see
we'll
17
sing
plays.
the Schuyler Sisters for you. The three of us.
Don't think we haven't tried.
Don't think we haven't maybe done that already.
Okay,
backstage.
we have to get you guys to do like the Ham for Ham lottery,
Yeah.
sell out with their digital Ham for Ham. You guys doing that, promote your show, and at the same time try to get a ticket.
I'm like Questlove on the Amy Schumer video. This is my drum. Like, I thought he was going to bring tickets. Have you not seen this? Oh, you have to watch it. He's just like, thought
Yeah, he's
she
not bringing
was bringing
tickets.
tickets. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Anyway. Hey, Questlove.
How you
No.
doing? could you hook a brother up? Hook a brother up. There's a point, but again, getting
Again.
away from what we were saying.
Right.
You can still come to New York City and see the play straight at Theater Row. And again, I say couple it with boy if you want to have like your full on,
Oh sure, yeah.
you know, sexual identity conversation, because that's what I did.
Double
and
feature.
It was
in
like
the
a
same
double
building.
feature.
Yep.
It was kind of cool actually. It was like, oh wow. And your conversation, like I said, I didn't expect to find it work for me, but it was interesting because it made me go back to me in a place that I hadn't been. So
That's awesome.
that's again one of the joys of going to see live theater and experiencing it for yourself. So if you're in New York City, go to Straight the Play. Straight the Play that's what it's listed on. What's the
What do you like? What's the
Telecharge.
website? What do you, what do you-
the website? Straight the Play.
StraightToPlay.com.
Straight the Play. I knew that. And I was trying to be all smooth and shit, and it's like, it wasn't working. But straighttoplay.com for more information about the play, tickets. It's Jake Epstein, Jenna Gavigan, and Thomas E. Sullivan. Thank you guys for coming. See, look at that. I did that off the top of my head.
You did.
Look at that.
Yeah, man.
I knew who
We're
you were.
impressed.
I just had to put it in my head, be visual, because I
Yeah.
knew this is the first time we were actually meeting.
Thanks
So-
for chatting with
Thank
us,
you so
man.
much.
Thanks for
So,
having us.
thanks for
Very
having
fun.
this great play. And again, come to New York, go see theater, support live theater, and we'll be back.